Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Just to let you know before this game starts, there's going to be a few moments where my audio kind of cuts out a little bit. It's because I'm still a little sick and I was coughing a little bit during the recording, so I just kind of cut those parts out. But if it just sounds like I cut off for a few seconds, that's why. Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Good to see you again. And I wanted to try something new in this video. We were talking about it on my stream last night, but I had seen a lot of videos that I thought were really interesting, just going over the POV style of, you know, these matches, and just kind of looking over, you know, what my cards are in hand and some of the decision making. I do like the original, you know, way that I upload a lot of these videos, with just having the overhead, just so that you can kind of see both players' hands a little bit and get a little bit of you know, an idea of what both players might be interested in doing. But I want to try something new. I would love to hear your thoughts about this, whether you guys enjoy it, hate it, let me know. But let's hop straight into the match. I go ahead and mulligan that first hand, and we pick up a slightly better hand. You know, not seeing the Gecko Moria obviously is a little bit of a bummer, but the Gecko Moria is just super solid into this matchup in the later stages. But he'll go ahead and pass over the first turn. I've got the Makino as well as the Garp in hand. So playing down Makino here, I get to take either my top or bottom life and then reorganize my other three. Looking at this, my life isn't incredible, but I do end up just kind of deciding where I wanted stuff to be placed based off of usefulness. And I do put the Satori at the top as well as the Ace, and then into my 2-cost, why am I forgetting the name of it? Hiyori right there. Lucky for us, though, we do end up finding the Sabo. Unfortunately, bottom decking another one as well as one of the 2-cost Sabos there, but I'll just go ahead and pass it back over. Feeling pretty happy with the starting hand so far. I would like to see a little more of the, you know, the lower end, like 2-cost cards. Having a lot of these 5s are great, but still need to see some of that that low end for, you know, the combos in the later stages of the game. My opponent does have 3 Dawn. Not really much you can do with 3 Dawn with Enel, so just an 8k swing to life here. I do end up deciding to play out Hiyori, and I think that this was a bit of a mistake. I get an Ace into trash, but Hiyori, I just thought about potentially getting onto board for having a little more, like, you know, swings later in the game, so I wasn't planning on swinging with it this turn. But I don't know, I'm not super ecstatic about it. I think that just keeping the 2k in hand and then just being able to put it into trash is pretty easy, especially because his first life ends up being Onami right here, and he does choose to trigger this and getting rid of the Satori. So unfortunately just trashing a 5-cost Ace for really no reason right there. But yeah, I'm just going to decide to attach the 4 though. Swing 6 into Garp. I want to see what my opponent's reaction to this is going to be. Whether they're just going to take this or give me a 2k and counter out. But they give me 2 1ks. This was a bit surprising. Like, I figured this was a pretty free take, but I get a Gadatsu as well as a Sanji out of their hand, and I was, yeah, pretty happy about that. We're going to see 4 rested, though, for the Cracker. And now a 6k swing to life, or we could just go for Garp just to get the extra body off the board, potentially. Yeah, but knowing what I have in hand and knowing what I have in life is very useful here. I believe this is going into life, so I choose to take it. I pick up the Luffy here, excuse me. And I'm not exactly ecstatic about what I have in hand at the moment. I know that as far as having like the 5 costs, great, like having Ace, having Luffy, but just not having a lot of the 2 costs that I really need, like Ace and Sabo, is pretty detrimental. But it looks as though he's not going to take the trigger here. I'll just go ahead and use Sabo to try and draw into some necessary cards and then cycle out a few. So Ace is definitely going to be going into the trash. I would imagine my other 5 costs potentially, but maybe just getting rid of the Luffy. Yeah, so dropping Luffy as well as the Ace and just passing it back over. Once I get to 0 life, that's when we can start, start to get online. Having the 1 cost event is really nice here as well. I want to be able to search out, some of the more useful cards here. But he hits me with the 7 cost Lin Lin. I'm trying to decide whether I want to trash the 2k or if I just want to let him gain a life right here. But I'll just go ahead and trash it. Gets me to 0 freely. I'm okay with that. He's thinking about, yeah, a little 5k swing. I'll block with Sabo. And another 5. We do have to counter out of this one, though. It's unfortunate to have to drop a 2k. Drawing into Sabo, though. Love to see it. I also have the 1 cost event, so hopefully I can find, like, the 2 cost Sabo. Dang, hate to see a Gecko Moria going down to the bottom, but at least picking up Ace, that's going to be really nice for, being able to use the leader effect a little bit better. So Ace is going to be great. Love to see that. Does leave me a little bit of room to... Yeah, a little bit of room to maybe get 2 combos off if I do decide to put the Luffy into trash as well. With the 5 Dawn, though, I'm just kind of considering what I need to be looking out for. If I do decide to swing with Sabo, I can be a 9k leader, but then I have this really pesky Lin Lin attack that I need to be weary of. So I'm just going to go ahead and more than likely just use... Oh, I see. We're going to go 5 into the Cracker with Garp. So we're just using 1 of the effects this turn and saving the other life so that I have maybe just like a guard against the Lin Lin attack. Or if he chooses to use Lin Lin again this turn, that can also be pretty useful for us. But yep, I just decide to bring out the Satori as well as Ace, and now I can get down the 2 cost Ace and bring out the 5. And I have this really neat little 3D printed object. I don't really know. I wish I could shout out the guy that gave this to me. It was at a locals one time. Guy was really nice, and he was like, yeah, I 3D printed up some of these and you can have one if you want. And so threw me one my way, but just indicates the plus 2000, and it makes some of these videos a little bit easier to kind of denote when my leader's at 7k or 9k because of the 2 cost Sabo, Ace, or Luffy. But I'll go ahead and go 9 into life as well. He's definitely going to have to take this, but he gets to use the leader effect at least. Yeah, deciding which card to trash. I think he actually did trash the... or no, did not. Yeah, still deciding which card. He gets to add 1 back from the top of the deck, though, which is nice. Being 7k here is good, but I know that I'm more than likely going to be expecting a, swing into the Ace from the 7 cost Lin Lin. And he's actually running a pretty interesting card. It's the 7, it's either 7 or 6 cost Kozuki Odin in his Enel list. So decides to trash that and heal up. Does end up having the Sanji. A few Dawn to work with here. Could attack into Ace for 8 or into life for 8. And I believe he decides to go life here first. I am just going to go ahead and bottom deck the Satori. Unfortunately, I don't get to add that back to hand. Otherwise, this deck would be absolutely broken. It's already pretty dang good, but yeah, that would be insane. We're just going to see a double Sanji play, though. Really trying to put the defense on and maybe defend the Linlin just a little bit. He's going to go 5 into the Sabo, and I do end up blocking that attack pretty quickly, and just ends up passing it back over to me. Very lucky pickup for us here. We get the Gecko Moria. I do think that we had plays, but they weren't as great as a Gecko Moria here. That just kind of like solidifies our options. And since I'm at 0 life, just being able to use the leader effect and Gecko Moria here in conjunction is just going to be so nice. I'm trying to plan out, you know, what the play is here. I do end up making like a slight misplay, or maybe I made it previously, was just not putting Garp into trash. Having Garp in trash when I have Moria sometimes is really nice, considering I'm in this spot where I only have 1 5 cost in trash. I obviously have the ability to use the Sabo to do that, but I realized that with the cards that I have in hand, Gecko Moria is actually not going to do me that much. So I decide to use the Sabo just to pick up the 2 cost here. Yeah, I end up getting the 2 cost, which is very useful for us, considering now I have options of bringing back the 5 cost ace, but then also potentially I could play over one of my blocker Sabos here and get down an ace and Sabo combo. But I guess it just kind of depends. I could just put the Yamato into life as well and just kind of save that. But he does end up getting reject off the last life, gets to draw 1, and now is just going to use leader effect, so just deciding on a card to trash here. Gets rid of Capone Beige. I was pretty happy about that. A 2k being gone is always a good day for me. And I do decide to... I'm thinking about it, but I'm pretty sure I'm just deciding whether I should be trashing Sabo or Hiyori here. And I'm thinking about trashing Sabo for the turn after using 8 cost Moria. And I believe that's what we end up going for. The one thing I really like about this deck is that it's a little challenging in finding out exactly, you know, which plays are correct. I feel like there's so many lines that you can take, and for me personally, I make a lot of mistakes, but I do try to capitalize on them as much as possible. But this brings leader up to 9, and now I know that I don't really want to go into life here. I'm just going to swing into Linlin to get some cards out of hand. We've got the Yamato in life, and we've got 2 Hioris as well as the Gecko Moria. So I'll go 9 into Linlin once again. And I'm just trying to get another 2k or potentially 2 1ks out of my opponent's hand. And he's thinking about it, because I know at the moment, I believe he had like a pretty healthy hand size because of the Shirahoshi. So I think he has like a good like 6 cards in hand, if I'm not mistaken. But he is just going to use another 2k counter. I'm considering swinging with Sabo here. I'm just thinking about how many swings he has. Can he get through with me having the 2Ks? And I'm just trying to pressure life as much as possible. I could potentially force a block here or get another 2k out of hand, so I am just going to use that Sabo. I feel pretty safe just knowing that I have 1 life that can be freely bottom decked, and then the 2k counters in hand. If he does choose to go for the Sabo and the ace the following turn, I can just let them die pretty easily, because I know I'll just be bringing them back the next turn anyways. So this 6k is very annoying for my opponent. He's definitely he was definitely thinking about it for a little bit and decides to just block with one of the Sanjis. Now with 10 Dawn up, you know, he could Yamato, but since I played Sabo, everything is protected. Not really that he could kill anything anyways. I mean, it could just try and KO the Garp, but, you know, Sabo effect, pretty crucial. You love to see it. And being a 7k leader as well does stop a lot of, you know, aggression if he does decide to Yamato here. Yes, you get a heal, but the only swing you can do after that is essentially essentially go into, you know, either Ace or Sabo here. A 9k into my blocker Sabo, though, does feel like a pretty free take. I'm just thinking of whether this card is as important as I need it to be for the following turn. Like if I need it to go for game, if I'm trying to do that. But he's just going to take out the Sabo and then attaching some Dawn, I believe, to lead here. And this just might be a really big swing into Ace, but I think he's definitely just thinking about like what his best options are. The way that he's been playing kind of tells me that he might not have the best hand. So I'm seeing this. Yeah, I'm seeing this. It looks like maybe an 8k swing. I believe it's an 8k swing, potentially with leader here going towards Ace. Could be 9. We still have Sabo to block easily if we need to. I don't think letting Ace die is all that bad, but he's smart not going for leader, because I would just absolutely 100% just let Yamato go. But yeah, this is going to go into the Ace, and it looks as though it's an 8k. It looks like 3 Dawn attached, but oh, he's changing it up. He's really thinking about the decision. He's like, wait a minute. I'm not sure exactly how strong I'm trying to swing, but now I believe this ends up being a 10k swing. And I will say, this is funny, not to you know, like poke at my opponent here, but the people that stack their Dawn sideways underneath their leaders and characters like this, it's so weird. It's so weird to me. I'm like, it's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be vertical, but just a nitpicky thing on my part. But now we've got the Gecko Moria play, which is going to be fantastic. However, I'm in a bit of a position. I have 1 life, and this kind of sucks. Like, I need to get rid of this life, and it feels as though, just looking through my trash, Makino is my answer. I'm just going to have to play down 8-cost Moria, use the Makino effect to basically freely bottom deck my Yamato, and then go into a leader effect, because that'll at least allow me to get to 0 life. And then, you know, from there, I'll either have Ace or Sabo that I can play. And it took me a second to realize the line, but it felt as though that ended up being, you know, the correct way to play this out. I'm just deciding whether I should be swinging with characters first or not. You know, should I try and get some cards out of hand? Maybe I get lucky and he blocks with Sanji here. If he does block with Sanji, it potentially gives me a route to deal with Lin. But my opponent is actually playing a new card from Starter Deck 13, which threw me off because I was not expecting this. I don't remember the name of the card off the top of my head, but it is called Flame Dragon King. It's a 2-cost plus 4k, and then you can look at your life and rearrange it in any order. So actually pretty solid. Lets Enel know at least like what's in their life right here. So guards out of the 7k swing. I am just going to put the Makino active, because I'm thinking to myself, like, there is a weird world where I might need that Makino as a potential swing the following turn. I'm going to use Makino, though, to bottom deck that Yamato for the on-play effect. And now I can attach 2 to lead. Go ahead and trash the Luffy. This allows me to get out Ace and Sabo, which is very useful. Or I'm thinking of doing Luffy, but I think Ace is just like a little bit better if I can potentially top deck or Sabo into a 2-cost Ace. So bring leader up as well as draw 2 and untrash 2. I just get 2 5-costs here. These are definitely going into the trash. I get to keep the Hioris. But yeah, I'm definitely just going to get rid of Yamato and Satori. It at least gives me some cards that I can still recycle into life I'm going to go 9 into the Lin. I believe my opponent's hand size is definitely dwindling. I think it's only at 3 or 4 cards in hand. And he does decide to defend this pretty heavily with the 0 cost. And now I'm just going to have to pass it over. We're a 7k leader, but we do have 2 2ks in hand, 2 blockers, a very formidable board to potentially go for game the following turn. So I'm liking the spot that we're at. Makino definitely allowed us to get there with dealing with the 1 life situation. And yeah, I think that overall, the top deck of Gecko Moria in this match definitely turned the tides in my favor. But just having to play into some of my cards, because this deck does lack a lot of consistency. And that seems to be like the biggest downfall, is not seeing Sabo, Gecko Moria, potentially some of your searchers early on enough. That's definitely where you can kind of fall behind in this match. Or I should just say with this deck per se. Yeah. But we haven't seen a Yamato yet. No like 8 cost Katakuri. Not a lot of like big cards from Enel in this matchup. So I do think that reasonably we've gotten kind of lucky. Just with our opponent not seeing maybe some of their more important, like, crucial cards. We're going to see a 9k swing. I'm not entirely sure if this is at life. Oh, it is. Yep. It is at life. So I'm just going to go ahead and bottom deck the ace. Being at 1 life is always a little scary against yellow just because of reject. But I know not every Enel runs reject. If he does have more blocker Sanjis here, it's not the worst thing in the world for us, but it does, you know, at least allow for some yellow shenanigans. All right, looks like we're going to see 3 on to lead, potentially an 8k swing into ace, which we do have the 2k for, so we're looking pretty good. Yeah, being able to get out of that, even if it's an 8 to life. Yeah, we're going to see 8k, no matter where it's going, I just throw a 2k, whether it's at ace or life. And now with the remaining Dawn, I think he's got like 6 Dawn active. I think he actually just passes it over here. Yeah, he just passes it over. So now I'm thinking like, what? Do you actually have 3 more of those events in hand? But I know that I'm kind of on a short leash here. I got to go for game. This 7k does get through, which is really nice. He is going to trash a Gadatsu, though, and use leader effect. I know that I can just swing probably 7 again. But yeah, I'm just going to decide to swing 7 with ace. Does take it. And lucky for us, no beige, none of the problem cards. 9k swing is going to get blocked, and we can just attach the rest to lead. We swing for game. We end up getting it here, and a pretty solid match though overall. I think that, you know, my opponent had a pretty interesting build. Don't think he really got to see a lot of the top end that he was maybe looking for that match, but overall pretty solid. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the camera angle, whether you guys enjoy this, hate it, love it, all that good stuff. And other than that, I'll catch y'all in the next one. All right, peace.